Hello, this is Rebekah Freedom for episode 20 of Heard Not Seen, produced by John Bison. John's not in the studio today, so this is going to be a direct message from me about nourishment, that which we actually seek. So right now in the world, there's many massive events going on. Of course, one that's in the forefront is the Native Americans fighting for their land yet again. So here we are in 2016, and it's as if the saying applies, the lessons we don't learn repeat themselves. If we don't learn our lessons, history repeats itself. So here we are in the pursuit of money and fame and wealth, and I'm guilty of that. I certainly know that I want a large platform and, the Oprah lifestyle, which is some sort of version of misappropriated spirituality, some watered down version that, gets told to all of us and by, Joel Osteen and whatever, and we've all bought it. We've bought it. But if you go back to the ways of the Native Americans, they worked with the land. They continue to hold the traditions of family. They find the animals to be sacred and to play an important part. And more than anything, that what's happening right now is the tribes from all over North America have come together, have banded together, even some who have been enemies for years and years and years, are standing in solidarity at Standing Rock in North Dakota right now to protect our water, to protect the Missouri River. What's more important, that your gas be $1 cheaper or that you have clean water for generations to come? Water is life. We can figure out different forms of transportation. We don't all have to have a single car. We don't all have to not be able to drive in the commuter lane. So listen, this podcast it hits home. I lived in the Dakotas. I lived in South Dakota. My parents were born in New Underwood, South Dakota. I have walked the lands of the Black Hills, and I've worked for Custer State Park. I would be asked on a daily basis, where are the bison? And there's a herd of 1,500 that roam the Black Hills, and it's a beautiful and magical. It's a place of majesty, and the plains provide so much for us. They provide just these gorgeous lightning storms, and our neighbors, Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, just the middle of the country is the heartland. And the reason that they say that is because there is so much heart still there, Even if you think the traditions are backwards, you don't agree, you're sophisticated and you live on the coast and you are practicing your yoga, core power yoga, which, by the way, I was like, okay, I want to go do hot yoga for 30 days. I made it 5 days at Core Power Yoga because it was this place where you felt like it's the same athletic competition that you feel. Oh, time for pizza. The beeping in the back. So anyway, again, going to Core Power Yoga, it was just like that competition you feel when you are in the gym, lifting, looking around, comparison, people being like, look at me, and look at me, look at me. And again, there's nothing wrong with that per se. It's to say, and that's what this episode is about, is that we are all seeking nourishment. I had the privilege of listening to tapes that my dad made when he was a hypnotist and a chiropractor. His series is called Night Flight, and my dad since passed away in 2000, but he left this legacy of these tapes full of wisdom. And I was able to listen to his tape on freedom yesterday, which was amazing because I have taken the last name of Freedom. And he was talking and he was saying, people are not against you. They're for themselves. They're not against you. They're for themselves. And we are all seeking this thing called nourishment. We're all seeking a place to call home. And I literally marvel that Earth, the ecosystem of Earth, has been able to sustain 7 billion people. 7 billion. In our lifetime, in the lifetime, I was born in 1980, the world's population has expanded by 2 billion people. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the landmass, the resources, the thought processes, the inventions that are going into this proliferation of human beings? It's mind-boggling. And then each of us, every single individual, has aspirations. Now, some, of course, are going to be more instinctual for those who are more indigenous. And I'm not referring to the Native Americans in that way. They're certainly a part of Western culture, but I'm talking about people who still literally live in the jungle. They have never, nor will ever, touch a cell phone. The closest they'll come to a camera is someone who goes and documents them. And that mindset is that of, I'm sure, pure vibration and harmony with nature. But nonetheless, they have to hunt and forage and be in their animal instinct. So, I don't know. I just think about a couple things, and I want to offer an exercise this podcast to you. Because if you have food to eat, you have water, you have a roof over your head, you've got warmth, you have clothes, you have an education, a way to make a living, you know how to read, you know how to write, you have at least one friend, let alone many friends, you have a network of family. You are rich. You are rich beyond compare. And all the motivational speeches that I hear and listen to tell you, that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And that's just recognizing in this moment that you are the universe. So of course you're going to feel that chaos inside of you. You're going to feel that competition. You're going to feel that bubbling up. You're going to feel, and I feel it too, look at me. Look at my significance. Aren't I special? Aren't I wonderful? Look at me. Look at me. Look what else is possible for my life. And that brings me to this poem by Donna Markova, PhD, writer and speaker. I will not die an unlived life. I will not fear of failing or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance. To live so that which came to me as a seed goes to the next as a blossom, and that which came to me as a blossom goes on as a fruit. Let me say it again. There are some significant lines in here, ironically, as she talks about surrendering significance. And again, I'll reread it because I mispronounced. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. Of falling. And falling and failing can be synonymous with one another. Or catching fire, right? It's that I have thoughts that are like lightning. I've been gifted this ability to be a psychic, And while there are many psychics, while there are many psychics out there and there are many people with this powerful gift and they are transforming lives, and there are many counselors out there and they have this powerful gift and they are transforming lives, and where there are many healers out there and they have many gifts and they are transforming lives, I will say that being that healer, being that arbiter of that gift, and being comfortable with it, is to say, I choose to risk my significance to live that which came to me as a seed goes on to the next as a blossom, and that which came to me as a blossom goes on as a fruit. I know that I come from a legacy of healers and military men, actually, on my dad's side, and that on my mom's side there were a lot of medical professionals, and there continue to be in the family. And owning that, educating yourself is a great responsibility. To whom much has been given, much is asked. Much is asked of you. If you have been given privilege, if you have the rights of comfort, it's not to have convenience breed apathy inside of you, but rather to acknowledge the seed inside of you and to say, I will surrender my significance. I will get my ego out of the way. And ego is simply the liaison between the id, I want, I need, I have to have it right now, and the superego, which is focused on the whole, the oneness. So, the samadhi, if you will. So I'm reflecting on this. How are you going about the business of seeking nourishment in your life? How are you going on about the business of being someone who nourishes another? Sit with that for a second. So what if every morning you be that nourishment to your body, to this vessel that you have been given, to the impermanence, to the depth and breadth and width of your creation, by feeding it beautiful harmonies, by looking in the mirror and saying, you're beautiful. You're beautiful from head to toe and you're functioning. I can walk on my two legs. I can stretch my arms. I can choose to eat whatever I want to eat. And even if I can't choose what I want to eat today, I can choose how I think about what I eat. I can be in relationship with my thoughts in a way that bring forth that which was immaterial into the material. I am the vehicle of transmutation. Holy fuck. You're the vehicle of transmutation. That smile you give somebody, that song you sing on the subway, that prayer that you chant, that candle that you light, that vigil that you hold, those tears that you cry, those moments of silence where you think no one else is listening and you are all alone, you are still a contribution. Thank you for your contribution. Those 7 deadly sins that plague us all: greed, lust, envy, fear, gluttony, and the likes. Let me pull them up. Let's get them out. Let's get them out and let's pull up these 7 deadly sins. All right, here we go. Pride, envy, wrath, gluttony, lust, sloth, and greed. They're all there. They're all available. There are all these mischievous energies dancing through our lives, dancing about, and it is in our discipline, in our inspiration to be in spirit, in our invocation, our invitation, that we stand as a resolution to these 7 deadly sins, and we choose something else. We create from a different place. We create from a place where it says, I am nourishment. The words of creation are this: I am that I am. I am not separate. I am not the illusion of other, but I am your sister and I am your brother. And we must come together to love one another. The message has always been the same, yet we decide that when we're in pain that we can't hold it, so we find someone to blame, and then we show it through the most ridiculous avenues and pathways because we can't see our way out of the darkness, and the darkness is like a harness on our hearts, holding us tight and holding us in and making us insane because we try to begin again, and we begin in the same way, in the same pattern, picking the same mate, and then feeling the same way when our heart's shattered, and always wondering, how do I break this rhythm? How do I make a different decision? How do I step into the light? How do I see and be and claim this deep insight? Insight into me is the fact that I am eternity. I am the universe, and everybody can be a part of me as we participate in this thing called life together, because the fact is I pass like the weather, ever changing, sometimes estranged, and sometimes I find solace in the eyes of another, a kiss, a touch, a hug, something that we all call love. But it's beyond that. It is this. It is inspiration to be as I see to be, to set me and others free. My father spoke of freedom on his tapes, on the Night Flight series. And freedom is self-awareness. Freedom is the peace that passes understanding. Freedom is going on beyond owning it. I had a friend of mine call me up, and I had a conversation with him, which simply was this. Listen, I know that we have loved each other since I was 17. You know, you have been an integral part of my life. But when you show up and you start to interact with me and then you just leave, it rips my heart out. And the only way that I can deal with it is to be sexual with you, is to come from a sexual place, to flirt and to show you provocative pictures so we can have some sort of semblance, some coalescing, some understanding of a primal need in that moment that makes it feel like we're bonded. Because the reality is we're not. And he's like, I know why you do that. I know why you act out in that sexual way. And I said, well, I own it. I own it. And he came back and he said, listen, you could be walking through a forest and a tree could fall on you and your last gasp could be, a tree fell on me. I own it. I walked through this forest at this time when this tree fell on me. And yet you're still dead. So go beyond owning it, right? Go beyond lip service. Go beyond the pattern and just decide to do it differently. Decide to take that which has become your awareness, which has come into awareness, and leverage it towards nourishment. And that's what this podcast is today. Whatever you seek is seeking you. I can't really think of any words that ring more true than that. And that you be the nourishment today that your body needs. Be the nourishment. Don't be gluttonous. Don't be lustful. Don't be envious. All of those things lead to regret in the end. But find the way that you can be a source of collaboration, a source of inspiration, to be in spirit. And these practices are simply this. 3-fold practices. The first, positive affirmations. If you need those, go to Louise Hay. She nailed the market on positive affirmations, that I am good, I am great, I am wonderful. If you need a comedic twist on it, go to Stuart Smalley from SNL. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. But find the truth in those affirmations, even if there's humor there as you say it. The second is beyond the affirmations, the nourishment, the words that you feed yourself. Be cognizant of how you label and define yourself. I am that I am. Use those words as a powerful tool to say, I am an arbiter of inspiration. I reach out beyond my capacity of imagination. I stretch beyond my borders, and I take this challenge that is my life to risk it, to lay it down, because no greater love has a man that he give his life for another. And that does not mean that you have to be a martyr. It means that you stand in the gap of your understanding, okay? That you bridge the not knowing into the unknown, and you bring those together to bring something called awareness forth. And then you live as an example, as a teacher, and you only use what you need, because I am infinity inside of me. So you can, of course, compare yourself to the man on the mountain, but his misery can be hidden underneath that beautiful gold adornment, or you can go down to the gutter and you can feel the same way. It's all the thoughts that we think that make the difference. So again, be so cognizant of the I am that is inside of you, okay? And take that insight, that moment, and meditate on it. That is the third thing. The first is positive affirmations. Be disciplined with your thoughts. Be cognizant of how you're defining your life through the I am statements that you secretly tell yourself and the patterns that they loop because of what you're saying to yourself. And then sit in stillness. Be still and know that I am God. These are the steps. These are your creation statements. These are the ways to nourish your soul. And therefore know that an empty cup cannot fill another. So come fully into this moment. It is that moment, this moment, the power of now. The power of now is where you exact your power. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much. I hope that you're able to assemble as one tribe wherever you are in the world, whoever is listening to this. One tribe. There are water protectors up in North Dakota right now trying to do the just thing to protect our land, to protect our earth, to protect our mother. And with 7 billion people on it, can you stand up and be a protector? Start by nourishing your soul in a way that's actually nourishing. Don't go on Tinder dates if they're raping you, if they're taking things away from you that you know for sure that you need. For instance, your own dignity. I could go on and I could have a seminar on this, but to say in this moment, I encourage you, and I hope you got inspiration from this podcast, to know for sure that you're sovereign. I'm Rebekah Freedom, and this has been Heard, Not Seen, episode 20. I love you so much. Take care.